5 or 7 teams build different applications using vibe coding tools like Lovable, Replit, Bolt, and others. And these are basically, this goes much further than your cloud, I would say, because in cloud, I mean, in chat window, right? You are asking to build something, you need to copy paste it somewhere, and etc. etc. These tools, they cover end to end. You will be able to orchestrate these agents. So when one agent will do some research for you, other agent will develop an application for you, maybe other agent will buy something for you, and together they will cover end-to-end flow of your business, for example, right? So this is I would say a next level of all the software running the agents. You can, in all applications, you can turn off the training, right? So they guarantee you, we should trust them. They guarantee you they aren't using your data to train the model, which is crucial part. And of course, I'm not sending there some super sensitive data. That's I don't trust it in a way I would do that.
Hi, and welcome to the Exceptional Leverage. My name is Jan, and I'm the host. Today, I have another guest with me. It's Jan Suchan. Hello.
Hi, I am.
Hi, and it's a pleasure to have you on my podcast. I believe our talk will cover a lot of different topics. But before we jump into the details, I would like to warmly welcome you. That's first. And second, just let's have a fun talk today.
That sounds good. Thanks for the
Yeah,
invitation.
so you are welcome. Thank you for joining. So, Jan, can you tell us a little bit your background? I know that you have technical skills and also business skills, but from your side, it will be totally different than if I would introduce you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ian. So I would say by heart, I'm still a developer. I started developing from 10 years old, something like that. I always loved to see how things work. And so during the university, I started my own projects, and then my first full-time job as a junior Java developer. That's how it all started. But gradually, I was more and more curious how I can have higher impact, let's say, in the company, right? So I liked leading teams. I liked having this impact. Well, now I'm achieving what the team achieves if I'm leading the team right. If I'm building the environment where the team thrives, and so I really moved to tech lead, team lead, engineering manager positions. And I tried also being agile coach and product owner, for example, so to see things from really different sides of the software development lifecycle. And I think this is my strength to be able to connect the technology and the business and people, right? Because it's not for granted, I would say, this connection. So I was working in companies like Avast, antivirus software, and the journey there was really exceptional. I joined, we had 100 employees or so, and I was leaving after 6 years, and we were 2,000 employees. So the hyper growth phase was really phenomenal, I would say. From the last position, I was engineering manager in Pure Storage, which is top Silicon Valley company, saving data for companies like Meta or NASA. So this is me.
Okay, thank you. We will go into details soon. Just let me go back. When you said that when you were a kid, you were like trying to discover stuff. I'm just trying to understand. Like, do you think that that early kind of stage of development and figuring out how things works impacted your life later on?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I got some, what was it, some car or something as a kind of present that I went to kindergarten, you know. And instead of playing with it, I unmounted it and saw how it's inside. Of course, I wasn't able to mount it again, so I couldn't play with it. But it was my satisfaction, you know, to see the motors inside and stuff like that. And definitely later on this transformed to this virtual life, meaning in the code, but this kind of ability and curiosity to see how things are working inside, that defined my career, I would say. Yes.
Okay, so it had actually a huge impact on your career as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned also in the second part of your answer on introduction, you mentioned that you work with companies here in Europe, but also in United States. And just very briefly, like I am personally very interested when I have guests like that have experience in two sides of the continents or two sides of the Atlantic. Like, what is the first and main difference that comes to your mind between states and European companies from the business point of view?
Mhm. Being able to sell.
Being able.
Americans, or that part of the ocean, um, they are able to sell anything. I would say by heart, right? That's their mentality. That's their mindset. On the other side, we here in Europe or Czech Republic specifically, what I can tell, we do great stuff, but it's not enough sometimes, right? We are not able to sell the great stuff as well as they do,
Hmm.
and it hurts us, honestly.
And you know, I'm trying to understand this difference because I want my listeners to understand that when you do business and you want to go like really scale it, one of the ways of doing it it's in states because that's the marketplace you need to go when you do whatever, like online tools or any application. But they still need to learn how to sell in American way. It cannot be Czech way, Slovak way, Polish way, but it need to be adjusted, right?
That's correct. I think this saying first sell then deliver is that's a great truth, because you and with AI today, right? The building part is becoming easier and easier. You can really, we will talk about it, I guess. You can really build an MVP of an application in a few days, let's say. But that's not enough, right? If you
Yeah.
build it, but nobody will buy it, it's a failure, right? So being able to understand the real problem of the customer first, and then provide a solution to this problem, which doesn't have to be an application, by the way, right? It can be something else, but it should address the real problem of the customer. Because now we are seeing a lot of AI generated applications that are actually not needed because they are not addressing real problems, right? They are being created because it's simple. That's the building part. But the marketing and sales part, it's different story.
Yeah. And yeah, we kind of started to talk about it. So this part of the podcast will be all about vibe coding. Probably whoever who is listening or majority of the listeners heard this term somewhere online, be it on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and so on. People are talking about vibe coding. You already mentioned that thanks to AI, companies, developers, and engineers, whoever like fans of code, can create and develop any kind of application, be it some tool very quickly, right? Thanks to artificial intelligence. We will talk about the benefits and the pros and cons of vibe coding. But before we go in, uh, how would you actually describe it? Like, what does it mean, vibe coding?
That's a great question. First of all, a funny thing is that who came up with this term? That's this guy called Andrei Karpathy, and he's Czechoslovakian. He was born in Czechoslovakia, actually. He's computer scientists, let's say, working in big companies, and he described it back in February 2025, I think. So just a couple of months ago,
Mhm.
and he described it in a way you don't really write the code anymore. You're just following the vibes of AI, and you really talk to AI in a way. I want to build something. I want to add this feature. I want to fix this behavior, right? And you are chatting the same way as you are chatting with ChatGPT when you
Mhm.
are asking it what should you make for dinner or something, but about the code.
Mhm.
Not actually not about the code, but about the functionality. Let's say about the application, right? I am about to build my to-do list application.
Mhm.
It should be able to add new tasks. It should be able to check already done tasks, etc., etc. You're just describing in very business oriented way, let's say, what are the features, what doesn't work if something doesn't work,
Mhm.
and AI helps you develop it and fix it.
Mhm. With that fixing part, I have my own experience when I spent 5 minutes of vibe coding an application and then 55 minutes of fixing it because there, it did not work. The tool, I use Claude. Claude didn't understand my briefing from the scratch. The first version was actually pretty good. But then when I started and found out actually that it's full of mistakes, it took me most of the time I was trying to really fix it. So that's one of the experience I have.
Absolutely. I think there is a saying that code is written one time and read 10 times. There's this ratio one
Hmm.
10, and I think this is changing. Maybe it will be 100 or something like that, because now the amount of code that's being written by AI, not only code, by the way, a lot of other
Hmm.
content in social media, for example, in articles,
Hmm.
right? That's enormous. That's enormous. And most likely, there will be a point that we won't be able to read everything the AI has generated, right? So you're absolutely right. Letting AI build something, write the code, that's the simple part. Review it and being able to understand it, this is becoming the crucial part that's needed, but it's not easy, right?
It's not, especially when you don't have experience, right? I am not a developer. I don't have a technical background. I am a marketer, and I consider myself a salesperson lately. So I don't have any clue when I see all those CSS, HTML, JavaScript codes. I'm just looking like in Alice in Wonderland because I don't understand it. But it's nice to have those two windows next to each other, prompting Claude and then seeing how it actually writes the code very quickly. And at the end, there is a small snippet of the application, right, in Artifact, in Claude. ChatGPT works the similar way in Canvas. The question is, like, but how we can actually like fix it? You said that soon enough we will not be able to read it. So why we are actually generating it like in this amount? I mean, text is one thing, but code as well.
So you need to understand we are somewhere in the middle, um, in a phase. You can compare it to self-driving cars. I would say we are not there yet, but we are almost there, right? So the cars have some autonomous systems, they have assistants, they are almost able to drive themselves, but not yet. Tesla can, maybe some others, but majority still can't. And also you don't have laws prepared, so the cars can drive autonomously, right? With the AI generated code, I think it's very similar. We are not there yet. In a sense, we can't rely on AI completely yet. So we can let it build the production ready, scalable, secure application that will serve millions of users. That's well, we can, but it's risky, right?
Hmm.
But we can use it for MVP, for prototypes. I've been last Friday. I have been one day on wipe coding hackathon here in Prague, and we came with one goal. We came to build an MVP of an application that we can sell in one day,
Hmm.
and we did it. We did it. Uh, 5 or 7 teams built different applications using wipe coding tools like Lovable, Replit, Bolt, and others.
Hmm.
And these are basically, this goes much further than your cloud, I would
Hmm.
say, because in cloud, I mean, in chat window, right? You are asking to build something, you need to copy paste it somewhere, and etc. etc. These tools, they cover end to end, if I can call it, development lifecycle.
Hmm.
It's not
Hmm.
development lifecycle anymore, I would say, but they cover it end to end, meaning you really ask them to build an application for you.
Hmm.
Sure, the better the prompt, the better the output, but you can iterate, right? And it will build it, it will deploy it, it will host it for you, and you don't really need to know anything, honestly.
I like that part.
In, in the beginning, to build an MVP, to build the zero version of your
Hmm.
application, and you have something, and that's I'm going back to first sell then deliver. So
Hmm.
you have something you can try to sell, right? You can go to your friends, you can post it to social media, you can run meta ads,
Hmm.
Facebook, Instagram on it, to see if somebody signs up, if somebody would be using it for free, probably in the beginning.
Hmm.
But that's the validation part, and this
Hmm.
validation part used to take weeks or months
Hmm.
previously. So this is the power of AI. As of now, you can really validate your idea in a few days, see if this resonates, and then either rewrite it or update it using wipe coding as well. It depends.
Hmm.
But if you proved your hypothesis that this idea is worth working on, let's say,
Hmm.
you can then pay maybe developers, not only AI, to build on the top of it. But one more thing, um, I said you don't need to know anything, right? But it's not particularly true in a way. Okay, it will deploy somewhere, but it's using, for example, Google Cloud, or it's using some database, right? And they have some free tiers, of course. But
Hmm.
I've seen many posts on X, or somewhere on Reddit, that someone suddenly paid, I don't know, $10,000 for these providers because they put a credit card there, right? And didn't realize it's using the credit card to, let's say, increase the load on the application, to spin up some more
Hmm.
servers, and so this part needs to be taken care of, and you need at least bare level of
Hmm.
knowledge of software development. What is the deployment, that the application is running somewhere, it's using some resources,
Hmm.
computational resources, to be able to use it properly.
Yeah, definitely. I actually heard about that case as well. When yeah, so imagine you are just building an app, let's say, right, with the tools you mentioned, and then you forget to calculate, and then the first invoice or you get it's $10,000. I think it's like, your idea is maybe good, but your business is like burned immediately. But Jan, going back to also the second part, you mentioned that when first sell and then
Mhm.
improve, or then actually deliver. It happened in government in Poland. They launched actually recently 2 weeks ago. They launched a portal for it was for creating and not invoicing like with from government tool, but it was a portal from government,
Mhm.
and they were like really having privacy and policy terms, like they were really promoting it's very secure and it's very safe. And then at the end, then they said, like, people discovered it at the end of the privacy lines, that all the information is hosted outside Poland, outside European Union, in states, on the servers of OpenAI. And now this is the risk. Like, okay, I might be actually use it, but then I want it to be secure. But even government is having those issues with under delivering. I would say maybe they are fast in delivering it because the idea came to life in a couple of weeks. So maybe it was even vibe coded by some agency, or I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's a great example. Mm, and again, it requires some level of software engineering knowledge, I would
mhm,
say, to understand that your application is running somewhere, your database is running somewhere. Those are some clusters in the cloud, right? Most likely. You can run it on premise on your servers as well. And this requires, yeah, some level of knowledge, that you understand the deployment, you understand these caveats,
mhm.
what can happen with your data, where are they, how the application is scaling when more and more users are coming in.
Mhm. And that's actually bringing me back. Now I recalled myself that this is the second part of my answer I wanted to add as well. That it actually brought me that I need to read into and look into, like, idea validation part of the businesses, right? I am the person which can like create ideas, solve problems for clients, but still the data validation. And why I'm telling this is, last week I received the link for an AI powered app. Now everything is AI powered, even your toothbrush, right? So so I got the link. I signed up for the tool. It worked for 5 minutes, and then it actually threw me away. It got locked, and it said, like, it's too many of you coming to this app. We will be back shortly. And it doesn't
Mhm.
work. I checked it even today at the morning. It doesn't work. So do you think this is the part of this data validation piece? Or is just that people are just later really realizing that maybe my tool will take up some resources, which cost money, right? Or the simple the idea doesn't work. But yeah, so just
I
alternate.
think these guys are smart. These guys are smart in way they created some limits on the application, so it doesn't scale indefinitely, so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't cost indefinite dollars. So they put some limits on the application, and it can be either the validation part. So let's try if there is a audience for such an application, right? And if so, they will probably scale it, but in a
Mm-hmm.
smart way, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
gradually allowing more and more users to the application. Or maybe the application is already in production and running smoothly, but they are just limiting. And also Google and big companies, they are doing the same way. When they are rolling out new features, they are doing it gradually, so it's
Mm-hmm.
normal. They are having some closed beta programs for new features as well, so it's kind of standard way of
Mm-hmm.
making sure you don't allow millions of new customers to something. You are just making sure it works, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's
Yeah.
some kind of mm, plan B. If something goes wrong, it goes wrong only on for limited number of customers.
Hmm. And actually, another example came to my mind. A couple of days ago, I read an article about a guy who was selling AI-powered tool for automatic sales on e-commerce. So it was a kind of a tool which you signed up, and it could automatically go to Temu, to Shine, and all those Chinese websites to buy whatever you want. You could just say like, okay, I need a toothbrush, and the tool would go to the sites, buy the cheapest one, and deliver it to you or send it to you. But 1 week ago, actually, somebody found out that it was not the AI who made the sales, but it was people in Philippines actually manually buying it instead of you. So this is also one of the sides of the vibe coding part. And
Yes, yes, that's a good story. And I think that was a bit similar when Amazon first opened these stores without any people, with a lot of cameras.
yeah, they
And
had, yes, you're
yeah,
right.
they had some Indian team actually looking to the cameras, not for everything, but for a big part of it that wasn't able, AI wasn't able, or some intelligence, some system wasn't able to determine what you are actually buying. So, but that's temporary.
Mhm.
You know, that's
Yeah.
temporary. The
Mhm.
technology is going forward so fast that these things are real temporary. And I go back to my similarity with self-driving cars.
Mhm.
I think this is very true in a way. It will take just, I don't know, a couple of years, maybe months, and we get to the state that the AI agents, the vibe coding agents and tools, they are so reliable. We are really operating our army of AI bots.
Mhm.
They are doing work on behalf of us, and
Mhm.
it's going there definitely.
And now I would like to transition a little bit from vibe coding because one thing came to my mind when you say AI agents.
Mhm.
Like, I understand it that you can build the things from the scratch when you understand code. So, for example, you are a developer or a coder, as you are, right? You have understanding of how it should be written. Then you can vibe code it, which is use a third-party tool to create everything for you and then validate the idea later or consult it with some expert. And then there is this third part, AI agents, I would say, or automatization, right? For example, make.com, zapier.com. Those are the tools that can help you automate. So is my understanding correct that those are the three ways how you can currently build any online solution or application? Or is there something else and my understanding is wrong?
Well, you can have still combinations, right?
Hmm.
So I think your understanding is correct in a way. In the end, everything is a software, right? And everything is using today some kind of AI underneath, some kind of model that it talks to.
Hmm.
With agents, it's going further, I would say. So there are new emerging platforms like agent to agent platform from Google, for
Hmm.
example.
Hmm.
And this is particularly interesting actually. um, this is a platform, it's 3 weeks old or something like that. it's
Hmm.
it's it's moving so fast, everything, um, but this platform aims to serve in a way, you are able to say, hey, I have this my agent, this agent is capable of buying on AliExpress, maybe, right,
Hmm.
as you mentioned, and some other agent will have different capabilities, and then you will be able, and that's the powerful part, I would say, you will be able to orchestrate these agents. So when
Hmm.
one agent will do some research for you, other agent will develop an application for you, maybe other agent will buy something for you, and together they will cover end-to-end flow of your business, for example,
Hmm.
right? So this
Okay.
is I would
Yeah.
say, this is, I would say, a next level of all the software running the agents.
And just from my experience, I tried make.com, but I was not able to build even the simple automation there because I lacked the technical knowledge. I couldn't connect to ChatGPT with Word or actually Google Documents, so I skipped it. But the question from me is, are those agents already like on those platforms, what you just mentioned, or that platform what you just mentioned, or I still need to build them?
I think Make and N8N, they are already having some agents built in, and I think all of them are moving into this direction because it makes sense. So because the difference between automation and agentic world, let's say, is in automation you still need to define steps, right? You need to say when I receive this email with this header, I want to save it to Google Sheets and then send another email or to Notion or something, right? You will define the scenario step by step. The big difference with agentic world is the agent will figure out these steps for you. So basically, you are saying, when I receive an email, I want to categorize it and I want to save it to the database. And you have in the system, you have 5, 10, 20 different agents with different capabilities. One is able to save it to Notion, one is able to communicate to some other database, one is able to do research for you. And the first agent, the master agent, let's say, will figure out what the individual agents should do, and they will figure out the way how to do it. So that's a big
Yeah.
difference. You don't need to really specify step by step what should happen. You need to specify here's the input, and I want this output, and the agents will figure it out.
Okay, that sounds great. Like for me, I can already imagine like a couple of cases where I could use this, even in my current projects. And just to understand, like you said that you are based in Czech Republic. I am based in Poland, and I see a big difference between marketing online in LinkedIn, for example, or projects in Poland and Czech Republic. But from your opinion, actually experience, because you also mentioned that you work with startups, right, or companies, you were taking part of a hackathon last week. So where does Czech Republic stand, for example, right, in currently, like what's the vibe around AI in Czech Republic currently?
That's a great question, and I think we are doing pretty good. We have great community. We have projects like AI. It's in Czech, AI Yetem, AR for kids,
I
and
like
this
that one
is
actually.
yeah. This is great project and a great initiative. Actually, helping schools build curriculum for AI and how to approach it in education. And we have tons of meetups and events around AI. So I think the community is really great. As usual, government is trying to keep up, I would say. But in terms of community, and we have Filip Dřímalka, the author of No Work, No budoucnost nepráce in
Yeah,
Czech,
no work.
Future of No Work, yes, uh, which is about the mindset. I think this is the most important part, honestly. It's not about the tools, it's not about the procedures and yet another shiny thing. It's about the mindset. It's about really changing fundamentally the way you work, which is not easy, right? Which is not easy. even for uh, young people uh, that are using AI on daily basis. But for those who haven't started even, this is a crucial part to really think about it. What I can do today that makes me 10 times faster tomorrow. Let's say
That's a
that's the
yeah,
mindset.
that's a good point. So pretty good in Czech Republic. And do you see like an evolution also in the products? Like, are they really getting better than before this AI era, or is just really fluff? As my friend says, AI blob.
Mm, I pretty much agree. It's again, it's not there yet. A lot of tools are trying to, because it's modern, it's cool, sexy, to have something AI in your product.
Mhm.
You wouldn't be existing if you don't have any AI in your product today, I would say. But I think we are now in the phase that we are trying to integrate AI into SaaS products, software
Mhm.
as a service. Something
Mhm.
is running as a web application, and we are adding some smart features to it, right? But I think this will be only temporary, honestly, because, and some people are saying SaaS is dead. We will see. But definitely some part of the SaaS applications won't be relevant anymore, because
Mhm.
coming back to agents, you won't be using the application to achieve or to help you with achieving some goal. You will have again your army of
Mhm.
agents that will achieve the goal for you. They won't be using an application. They will be probably using some other agents, as we talked about, agent to agent platform, to find information for you, to buy something, to do the research, to build an application, maybe, right?
Mhm.
So we are now adding AI to the products that are used by people. But this is being fundamentally changed. We will get to the era that we are building more like agentic platforms that are used by other agents, not by people.
Mhm. It actually makes sense. One of the SaaS products came to my mind again recently. It's the Excel, right? Everybody knows the Excel columns and cells and everything. And now you have this Copilot feature, and Google actually have that as well in Google Documents and Google Sheets, where you just type in what you want to create, and it will write the formula for you, right? So it's like really fast. But for people who are new, that's maybe nice, but for people who are using Excel for 10, 15 years and they know what is macro, for example, right,
Mhm.
then they understand it, that it's like no point to have it. The second example, and it's maybe not the SaaS product, last week Meta introduced AI in WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook as well, probably in
Yes.
Messenger.
Mhm.
Like, from not being honest, like, what's the point? Like, I'm doing or using Instagram, to see content. I'm going to WhatsApp to communicate. Why do I need to have, an AI feature there? I don't understand it.
You need to look at it from their perspective. They need data.
Okay.
So the more people that are using their AI, the more data, more training data they have, so the better they can get. So I think this is the game.
That's a nice way of collecting data. I need to
Well,
implement.
maybe nice, maybe not so nice, but it's the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, and
And
I think I
yeah.
I think this is the game. The data is new gold really today.
Yeah, it is definitely. And when you say is not nice, why do you think so?
Well, because it's about the security, it's about the ethical questions, how the AI is used. So still, a lot of people don't understand if you are using something for free, you are the
Mm-hmm.
product, you and your
Mm-hmm.
data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anything, if you are not paying for subscription on ChatGPT, for example, you most likely are providing your data to the model. So you need to be aware what you are putting there, not your personal data, for example. So if the product is offering you or adding some feature that you can
Mm-hmm.
put more data into it without without maybe warning you, hey, but we will use it for training, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, there are risks.
Mm-hmm. I think it. Not. I think. I agree. It makes sense. Yes, because one of the example is Chinese DeepSeek, right? The new open source AI. I don't know how many hundreds of million users they got in 1 week, but it was extremely high number. And it's from what I know, it's still for free.
Hmm.
So
I think so. I think so.
yeah, so people are still using it. And as you say, with data, that's funny thing. Yesterday, I was trying to generate, some garden design mock-up from a picture I made. And I uploaded to ChatGPT and I said, like, okay, like recreate it now with some, decorations and lights and flowers as well. That on the third picture, it actually added my dog. It actually knew that I have a pug dog.
Oh.
It just messed up with the color. It was
Mhm.
a white or beige instead of black, but it knew that I have a dog. So no matter what we think, those data are still there. It's like unbelievable for me. It was like, what?
And I think it's not yet in Europe, I think, but ChatGPT changed the way it saves information. Sorry, information
Mm-hmm.
about you.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, yeah, it remembered just some things, and you could ask it to remember something. And I think they changed it now in a way it remembers pretty much everything, and
Mm-hmm.
you can somehow delete the memories as well. But I've read interesting article about people that are using ChatGPT at work in some agency, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and they are actually using it uh, to help them with tasks for different clients. There is a huge risk that you will expose data from one client because it
Mm-hmm.
remembered it and
Mm-hmm.
use it to some other article to a different client, right?
Oh man! So it's not enough to just open a new chat because it still remembers the old one.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, okay, that's
You
interesting.
can turn it off, but again,
Uh-huh.
majority of people are using the tools with default settings, right? That's 98%, I would say.
Mhm. So how do you as a developer, somebody who understands business, somebody who understands artificial intelligence, actually protect your data? That's asking for myself kind of
Mhm,
now.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. So basically, I'm using only paid versions
Hmm.
of the applications, and so I have Gemini on my custom domain, right, and Google Workspace business suite. And if you are paying, if you have the paid tier, you can, in all applications, you can turn off the training, right? So they guarantee you, we
Hmm.
should trust them. They guarantee you they aren't using your data to train the model, which is crucial part. And of course, I'm not sending there some super sensitive data. That's I don't trust it in a way I would do that.
Hmm. Okay. So first part or follow up is, and that's confirmed that the paid version, when you pay for the subscription, you can turn off, and your data are more protected than in the free versions of those tools.
Yes, all the tools, I think, yeah, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Uh, DeepSeek, well, not the Chinese, but you can use DeepSeek model in Perplexity, for example,
Hmm.
and they are using this open source model, and it's hosted in the US. So in that case, it works the same way. You need to also always go to the settings and
Hmm.
see data. I think ChatGPT calls it data control. Some others call it maybe a bit differently, but it's about making sure your data is not being used to, they call it, improve the models or train the models, something like that.
Great tip, thank you. And just to add to this one, so you wouldn't upload any, for example, hackathon results or a business plan with logos and like really protected information into those files when using free version or having the training option on.
No, I wouldn't, definitely.
Okay.
It's you know, the tools and the models work like, in a way, they are using, if this is turned on, they are really learning how they responded on the data you provided them.
Hmm.
So they learn patterns, and they can learn, well, okay, so based on this input, I created this business strategy or something,
Hmm.
right? And they can do it the same way for somebody else, and you don't want it.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. You don't want it, right? And then com- taking into consideration just ChatGPT has more than 100 million active users weekly, then yeah, you don't want to give them details. So still, thanks for the tips. I really need to look into because my cloud is probably on, and ChatGPT I use free for a couple of months because I closed the subscription, but maybe it's time to renew. So,
And maybe even if free, in the free version, you can turn it off. I'm not sure. I'm not using
okay,
paid.
I will. Yeah, I will. I will check that. And just to understand, when we talk AI for kids, right? AI dzieciom or dzieciom, then it also means to prepare the kids for deepfakes and so on. So I understand that one of the ways how we can contribute to this one is to actually talk to the kids in a way that AI is nice to have, but sometimes it can be used in a different ways. Is that something you also do at home, for example, or?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a big topic because we have two small kids, and it's a big topic for me because I it's not only about the development, vibe coding and stuff, but I, as a parent, I want to understand this new world, so I'm able to protect my kids and set some boundaries, right, and
Mhm.
understand the world and prepare the kids for this world. And security and the fact, you mentioned it, deep fakes. Well, we are getting to the era that you can't really trust anything you see, hear, or read, because now we are getting to the state that in Instagram and Facebook and social networks, well, they are more and more content AI generated, and
Mhm.
it's really being distinguishable for from the real recordings.
Mhm. Yeah, just yesterday again on Instagram, I have seen a couple of memes actually generated by AI, like all after the funeral of the Pope, uh, and the internet is full of them. Like people not realizing they are sharing those data across the platforms, but it spreads,
Mhm.
and it spreads very quickly. So in just a couple of seconds, you can influence the population opinion just with a deepfake. And I think that's why I'm asking, because I also have a small kid, right? And we play with ChatGPT sometimes with the voice mode. Like
Mhm.
he has some questions, and then I said like, okay, go ask Chat GPT, right? Go ask AI, and he likes
Exactly.
it. Like, oh wow, that's so cool.
Exactly.
But still, I need to implement some measurements into how to use it safely, I would say.
Mhm. I think we are we are coming back to old school critical thinking.
Mhm.
To be able to understand the information, to be able to think about it, not just receive it. Because by the way, that's a big difference between, so you googled something, right, and you
Mhm.
had 10 results on first page. So you could go one by one. Okay, you chose probably the first one, but still you had some choice. But you ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, and you get an answer,
Mhm.
and there's just one answer. Okay, you can ask for more, but will you?
Mhm.
So it's serving you the truth.
Yeah, the truth, exactly. And what comes from AI, it's correct, right? It's always 100% correct. I'm taking and saying it very ironically because I understand. I know people who are like during even Easter, right? We talk about with family members, and they're saying like, "Oh, this is the true. You should buy." For example, we had a TV discussion, what TV to buy, and we
Mhm.
did a deep research with ChatGPT on that one. And when I looked at the results, there were some like mistakes because there were different prices, right? Localized ones. So it doesn't understand the market. It doesn't understand that the technology might be cheap in China, but more expensive in Europe because of all the prices and taxes plus the delivery. So not everything is true, and people should be aware of that. That once you use AI, yeah, your data might be not protected as you think. And the second one, the information you should still double check. And that's also going back to vibe coding. From my experience, when I vibe coded, right, writing something was 5 minutes, but fixing it was 55 minutes. So it
Mhm.
took me much more longer to actually fix the issue, fix the tool, and I was still not able to, run it in 100% at the end.
Speaking of which, I mentioned vibe coding, great for MVP, for the prototypes, for validation of your idea, right? But for the real development, it's usable as well, but you need to have much more guardrails, let's say, on the
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
So, and these guardrails can use AI as well, but you need to have, let's say, you wipe code some part of the application, a new feature, right?
Hmm.
And you want a review, you want security review. Uh, so normal development lifecycle as it used to be, one developer developed something, created a pull request, meaning opened the code for others to
Hmm.
see it, and others reviewed it, right? And this is crucial when using AI tools as well. So other AI can review it, but also other developer can review it, or you can review it. Actually, you
Hmm.
should review it and make sure you one understand it at least 90% or 80%, let's say. You don't need to understand maybe everything. There's a lot of, we call it boilerplate code that's not crucial for the function itself, let's say. But majority of it, you should understand it, and you should be aware of some security risks. So you can have some other, we call it static code analysis, for example, in the pipeline. So anything that's generated or created as code gets analyzed for security issues, for some vulnerabilities. That's crucial as well. So one funny thing, at least for me, is mm, all the developer conventions, the best practices to adding iterations in the code, meaning you start with something, you iterate, you add something else, you do small chunks so they are reviewable,
Hmm.
you document the code, you document the architecture. Those are best practices that have been there for 20, 30, 40 years maybe, right? But now with AI, they are much more important, because if the junior developer didn't know 20 years ago, He came to me, or he came to a senior developer and asked, right? But if
Hmm.
AI doesn't know, it will assume something, and the assumption will be most likely wrong. So you need to build boundaries for the AI. That's why it's so crucial to have, for example, documentation of your code, of your architecture, even of the features you are building in
Hmm.
the repository next to the code, because then the AI tools that are working with the code, you can you can tell them, hey, always use this folder as a context for you, because it
Hmm.
tells you the conventions, it tells you the architecture, there is documentation, and the more context you provide to AI tools, and it's applicable for ChatGPT, for anything.
Hmm.
The more context you provide, the better answer is. So
Hmm.
this saying garbage in, garbage out is uh, applicable more than ever, I would say.
Mhm. Yeah, you're right, because it's totally different when I use just a chat feature, right, in Claude or ChatGPT, and then I have a project created with the
Mhm.
library of files,
Yeah,
right? It's totally different. So this is what you mean, right?
yeah, and with
On
the
a basic
call,
scale, yeah.
yeah, on the basics, and on the call, it goes far beyond that,
Yeah. Hmm.
because the level of context is much bigger, I would say.
Hmm. Cool. And I also know that you mentioned it as well, that you work with companies and you have experience in leadership as well, right?
Yeah.
So my question now is like, how do leaders actually perceive AI revolution? I would say, or evolution, I would call it this way, maybe. So, from your opinion, from the environment you are working with, or people you are working with, like how do they actually perceive AI?
It's different for different people.
Hmm.
There's a huge difference, I would say. So I won't start with leaders. Actually, I will start
Hmm.
with developers, engineers. Um, there is a part of engineers that are in kind of panic mode, I would say, today,
Hmm.
because we are all seeing the articles. It will replace us, right? It will replace developers, and people are afraid, and that's logical. That's normal. And for the leadership, I think it really depends on the company, how the company sees this revolution,
Hmm.
because there are companies, usually the bigger ones, I would say, where the leadership is too busy to innovate, maybe too busy to be able to try new things. And but if the leadership is not setting good example how the AI should be leveraged, right?
Hmm.
Because it's getting to the state that there is no strategy. Uh, Everybody is using something else. It's not really standardized the way how the AI, for example, in software development, let's say, should be used. On the contrary, if you have a company, usually the smaller ones, or maybe not bigger, smaller, maybe less innovative and more innovative, I would say. So those more innovative, they see the benefits. They see how, um, I said it before, what I can do today, so it makes me 10 times faster tomorrow. And they
Hmm.
see, they have this mindset. So what works really well is, I'm going back to Philip Drimalka and his AI ability company. They are training ambassadors, AI ambassadors inside the companies. I
Hmm.
think this is a great approach, to, let's say, build one, two, three ambassadors inside the company that are leading the initiative, and then share how AI is used within the company on a weekly or bi-weekly basis between the teams, because sharing the knowledge is crucial part for understanding where are your limits, how you can learn from others, how you can um, how you can try new things, how you can experiment with AI, right? Because it's changing so fast that you need to balance experimenting with everything on one hand,
Hmm.
trying every new tool every week, which doesn't make sense, but on the other end of the scale, not trying anything and doing all the work the same way you did a year ago, which doesn't make sense either. So setting up, going back to software development, setting up a clear development lifecycle, which is
Hmm.
AI augmented, building a strategy, what tools are recommended for vibe coding, or let's not call it vibe coding, maybe
Hmm.
AI assisted coding, let's say,
Hmm.
in the company. And on the other side, making sure you have this development pipeline which ensures what you are building and shipping to production is stable, is secure, is reliable. That's the way it should be approached from my point of
Hmm.
view.
And just to follow up on this one, on the last part, because I hear very often about companies who are having actually AI ambassadors, right? They train them, they show them, they give them, empower them to use the tools as well. And then they say, like, okay, you can use only what we give you, let's say Copilot. And they say, like, okay, you cannot use the full version, you can just use the text generation.
Mhm.
So what would you actually tell to the company owners, managers, and directors who are now listening to this podcast to actually open their mind a little bit, into, because I understand from my opinion, you cannot do a lot with the basic tools. It's like, having just the one match, you cannot build, a fire, supposedly.
Yeah, you cannot. The models are changing very often, and there is a huge difference between them, between let's say free models
Hmm.
and paid models that you can use either via chat interface or in some other tools for software development, for example, in Cursor or any other AI assisted platform. And to open their mind, well, I think the big difference is the state of the art tools. They are able really to make you 10 times faster, 20 times
Hmm.
faster, and they are starting to be really reliable. And that's a big difference between trying the basic stuff, because as we talked about, it's easy to build something, but you are then fixing it for 1 hour, or
Hmm.
building for 5 minutes, you are fixing it for 1 hour. You want to be able to build something which is maintainable, which is reliable. So do not use the basic tools that will help you build something, but you will basically burn the leverage with the maintenance, right? Because it's not ideal, it's bad code, it's
Hmm.
not secure, and this is the huge difference. And honestly, software engineers that are they are curious to try new things. If you give them the opportunity to do it, if you give them
Hmm.
some space to explore new things, be sure they will come up with ideas that will make your business grow much faster.
Hmm. Jan, I am full of information. This podcast was really tough, thought provoking. I need to like rethink some things I do and implement into my daily work, kind of. I need to review my security setup in Claude and ChatGPT as well. That was a great tip, I must say. Also, others besides that. So, I really enjoyed today's talk. Thank you very much for being with me on Exceptional Leverage podcast. My name is Jan, and I was the host today. So, thank you,
Thank
Jan.
you. Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank you.
day.
Take care. Bye bye.